It's your boys, the Two Live Stews, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart, and this is an edition of a Stews Crew pop-up. I'm your boy, Ryan Stewart, and that's your boy, Doug Stewart, and we're happy to be here with you, getting ready to do the Joe Show. How you doing today, Doug?
I'm fantastic, man. As always. How about you?
Hey, man, your hat tilted to the side like you headed to the barbershop or you about to shoot some dice. What you up to, man?
Nothing, man. I'm just chilling.
Okay.
I actually did a little half a day today. Did some running around a little while ago. And,
Amen.
You know,
How you do?
chilling.
How you do half a day when you're working from home, man? How you do half a day when you're working from home?
I didn't work from home today. I actually was in office.
Wow.
You don't think I work, huh?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I mean, that's how you
No,
sound.
no,
You sound like you think I'm Tommy from Martin or something.
I'm
man.
not insinuating you, brother man, from the fifth floor. I'm not doing that.
No, it's Tommy from Martin. You confusing your Martin characters. Tommy,
okay.
his best friend. Rest in peace.
No. Bruh man is from the fifth floor.
Right.
He comes through the window.
Right.
Oh, Tommy, no job. You're right, sir. I stand corrected. You're right. You're right.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, we're going to get into some hot topics, man. This isn't about the Two Live Stews or the Two Live Stews experience. The next 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so with these hot topics we got will be all about the Joe Show. You know him. I said Jamestown last week. It should be Alvin's finest, former Macedonia Fox. Alvin's finest, former Macedonia Fox. A Hall of Fame Yellow Jacket, former Buck, former Colt. That's right, the 1999 Heisman Trophy runner-up, and he was shammed.
Should have won the damn thing.
He was shammed.
Right.
But hey, man, your boys,
Punk-ass Ron Dane.
Doug and Ryan Stewart, happy to welcome Joe Hamilton into the doghouse. What up, Joe? How you feeling, sir?
Man, is there a better word than fantastic? I'm doing like that, man. Phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. You said Jamestown last week. That's okay. That's about 7 minutes away. But it's funny you said that because Alvin was not on the map until your boy got to Georgia Tech. They tried to say St. Stephen. I said, nah, St. Stephen, that's our rival. Man, I'm from Alvin, South Carolina, man. Put that on the map.
See, and Joe, it's funny you say that because we don't play that little game.
No.
You know, trying to be from somewhere else.
No.
People always try to say we from Charleston. No, we from Moco. We from Moco.
There's no doubt about it. The only time we try to bring those things together is if we're talking West Coast and New York. We'll say Low Country. Right. But when we're talking amongst ourselves, man, Moco has pride. Alvin has pride. St. Stephen, Kane Hoy, Hugh G. But it's all about pride.
It's all about pride.
Two quick things. Your boys, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart, the Joe Show going down, Joe Hamilton in the building. First thing, when I said Jamestown last week, did you have a hard time not saying, hey, it's Alvin? Or is it no big deal? That's the first question.
Well, huge deal. I just didn't want to correct you then. I said, hey, you want to just go Low Country? I'm fine with that. The pizza in Jamestown as well. But no, it's not the same thing. Absolutely not.
All right. And second thing, and this is not a question, this is a story to the people that's watching and listening before we get into the Joe Show today. When you drive through Alvin, South Carolina, just like when you go through most towns, the big name celebrity from a town, if you drive through wherever Ric Flair's from, there's a sign that says, this is the home of Ric Flair. If you drive through where President Obama's from, this is the home of President Obama. There is a sign in Alvin, South Carolina that says the home of Joseph Hamilton.
Are you serious?
How does that feel, Joe?
Hey, outstanding, Stu. You sit here, you and Doug know who I am. You know about me. I'm humble in a sense, but that was the highlight of my career. I went to Georgia Tech, and they kept saying on the bottom screen when they introduced the starting lineup, they kept saying St. Stephen, South Carolina is where I'm from. And I kept looking. When I looked and Mom said some things, I was like, hold on now. Our mail go there because of a P.O. box, but that's not where I'm from. So in the Heisman run that senior year, the governor of South Carolina did not know where Alvin was.
Wow.
Man, he had a ceremony, came right in front of that sign about a quarter of a mile from where I stay. And as you approach from Jamestown, Alvin, South Carolina, home of Joe Hamilton, and as you approach from St. Stephen's the other way, Alvin, South Carolina, home of Joe Hamilton. So in 1999, Alvin, South Carolina was put on the map, and I was there to sign the papers and see everything. And now when you go to Alvin, there's a sign coming from Mount Scorner, Moco, that says Alvin, 6 miles that way. Man, I'm prideful. I'm very prideful of that, fellas.
Wow, we talking to former quarterback for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and should have won the Heisman Trophy. Punk ass Ron Dane won it, but Joe should have won it. Is on the show with the Stews today, and this is actually the Joe Hamilton show. Two things I want to ask you. When you go through Alvin, do you have to pass Jamestown, or is it vice versa? I'm gonna tell you the truth, Joe. We grew up 15 minutes from Alvin and Jamestown. I don't know the difference. I don't know where's where. Do y'all have that light, the light that you make that left to go to Myrtle Beach? Is that Alvin or is that Jamestown?
That's Jamestown.
That's
No
Jamestown.
doubt about that, Jamestown. If you were coming from where you were coming from, straight from your house, Mount Scorner, you would make that left and go down the stretch, what we call it, and then you would come to a dead end where you go straight, you're going into the woods, right?
Right.
So you make a right, you go down to Jamestown about 5 miles. You make a left, you go to St. Stephen about 7 miles. So there it is. There are no lights in Alvin, South Carolina. Just a community gym, community center. But I would reiterate to you, Mr. Doug Stewart, there is a distinct difference between Jamestown and Alvin.
Absolutely.
It's your
I'll
boy
never
Doug
make that
Stewart, Ryan
mistake
Stewart.
again.
It's the Joe Show on Stewart Media and
Stewart.
Entertainment. Looking forward to spending time with Joe Hamilton as topics come up. He's not just a football player. He's a sports analyst, and we're looking forward to highlighting and showing that. We're going to talk a couple of topics. Not going to be on here long. A lot of people in the chat room. We do appreciate everyone in the chat room. Want to remind you guys to make sure that you always tune in and that you subscribe so you know when we're doing shows, what shows are coming on, when we're popping up. If you subscribe, you will always get a heads up to what is going on with Stewart Media and Entertainment. Couple of quick topics, but before we go any further, there is breaking news. This is where Nadi will put in the breaking news sound. Jets
here we go.
fire General Manager Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is officially out as of today, November 19th, earlier today. Joe, toss this up to you. What does this mean for the New York Football Jets? What does this mean for Joe Douglas? More importantly, what does this mean for Aaron Rodgers for the remainder of this season, moving into next year? Your show, Joe. Let's go.
Well, I'm happy. I'm very happy because now you're going to be in the mix for hiring a new GM, and it's not going to be the Aaron Rodgers show. All right, that's first and foremost. Robert Saleh got fired. I thought that was the wrong deal. Maybe fire your offensive coordinator, but you fired the defensive coordinator when you fired Robert Saleh. So now all of a sudden, where are you going to go? I would say this to you fellas: get ready for the U-Haul truck. Get ready for guys to quit. Remember now, you don't have to throw in your helmets in the locker room to quit. All you have to do is move to the left, move to the right, give 85 to 90% effort, and you've quit already. So I look for nothing more than, where's the leadership coming from? We all know, well, I know. I don't know if everybody else knows, but I know. He's a me guy. All about him when he decided to go during a mandatory mini camp to go somewhere else to have fun, and you're the leader of the team. So now I'm looking for the debacle to really come upon the New York Jets about it.
Talking to Joe Hamilton right now on the Joe Hamilton Show with the Two Live Stews. You've been in the league. You played for a couple teams, as Ryan mentioned earlier. You played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a minute. You were on the squad in Indianapolis. Did anything like this happen in season where a coach was fired? I can't remember. Was a coach fired, GM hired in any of your stints in the league?
No, there's nothing happened like that. You kind of heard rumors right before John Gruden, came into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Dungy's last year. You kind of heard rumblings from Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks that, this is it. Coach Dungy couldn't quite get those guys or us over the hump. You needed an offensive spark. So there was rumors, but in-house. When you see an in-house firing head coach and the GM, I go strictly to players' leadership. When or ever was a players-only meeting called? That's where I'm from the school of. The leader, Aaron Rodgers, did you call one? Quentin Williams, the defensive tackle, all-pro, did you call one? Did anybody see the ship sinking to be able to say, guys, this is not us? And oh, by the way, Devontae Adams, what did you get yourself into by demanding a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders over there in that old trash of a mess? So I didn't see anything like that, but best believe, yeah, they are professionals. Yeah, you're gonna be vying for the other 31 teams, but how do you really put your hard hat on for every single practice, which most often than not, it's a grueling season when you know you're not going anywhere.
Joe, before we move on to another topic, let's wrap things up with the Jets conversation. Is Aaron Rodgers in the locker room next year as the starting quarterback? Does he have anything to do with that program now that the general manager has been fired? Next season, will Aaron Rodgers be a Jet?
No, sir. He will not be a Jet. The new GM and the new head coach is going to want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, but I do believe that Aaron Rodgers will play again in the NFL, just not for the New York Jets.
Hey, man, your boy.
Because he has something in the tank. I don't see any velocity going off of his fastball, and I do know after an Achilles injury like that, it takes about a year for you to get back your legs, and I know he's 40 years old, but if you can protect Aaron Rodgers, he can still throw that football.
Hey, Doug, that's one thing about quarterbacks when they're analysts. They always back up each other. They're going to back up a quarterback. They're going to have nothing bad to say, especially about a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not questioning Joe. I believe everything he's saying. But quarterbacks stick together like leather.
Yeah. So let's switch to another Cowboy story, another quarterback story, and that is with the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Injured right now on IR, going to miss probably 3 more games, I believe, 4 games total, right?
I think they shut him down for the season, Doug.
Huh?
I think they've shut him down for the season.
They've shut him down for the season? Okay, I missed that. I thought he was on IR. So talk about Dak and what he's done.
Sir.
He got the $60 million deal, caught on the sideline. His last game, I believe it was, saying that we suck. And talking we, meaning the team sucks. When you make a statement like that, do you lose the locker room? If you lost the locker room, could you ever get the locker room back? I want to hear your thoughts, the guy that played in the league, on leadership and what that means long-term for him there in Dallas.
Yeah, Doug, first of all, I don't think he lost the locker room with the simple fact that he said we. All right? So when you're a leader, especially a quarterback, you can't say them. You can't say we. You're safe. You're safe as a leader. And he said, but it starts with him. It starts with him taking the bulk of a salary, $60 million. Guys, I can sit here, and I'm a Cowboys fan, been a Cowboys fan, Tony Dorsett and all the Randy Whites and those guys. But I can name you 10 quarterbacks off the cuff. That's better than Dak Prescott. All right, I mean, he turns the ball over like it's not very, very important. We call it the church's money. He gives away the church's money with no at all. And that being said, where do you go from here? The next guy, who is he going to be? Can he reel Dak in? Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Does he have to learn a new system? Dak Prescott, in my opinion, is the head of how the Cowboys failed this season. Because, again, before he got hurt, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in the red zone. So now Dak Prescott is a solid quarterback. He's second in the MVP last year. I get all that. But, boy, when you come down to crunch time, I don't know if he has that it factor when you want to win a ball game and put it in his hands.
I don't want to change the subject, but with games left versus Washington, the Giants, Cincinnati, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, and then Washington, is this a situation where even though he just got the big deal, there could be consideration of him not being your quarterback next season?
No, sir. No, sir. Now, some fans would want that, no doubt about it, but the salary cap hit, You're going to hamstring the GM, Jerry Jones, and his son, Steven, and you're not going to be able to build the roster. I think the Dallas Cowboys roster right now is, suited to make a run for the Super Bowl. But again, I thought that Bill Belichick should have been the head coach last year, because this is a team right around the corner from winning, and you need a change of attitude. You need to get rid of that prima donna, America's team type deal, and that was the move to when they win at this year.
All right, man, before we move on and get into today's blockbuster topic, one more question in the world of the NFL. We'll stay on the quarterback team since that's where we are. Okay, Josh Allen played a phenomenal game this past week, week 11 in the National Football League. Literally carried his freaking team on his back to get the W versus the team that they have a hard time beating when games matter in Kansas City. My question to you is this: has Josh Allen closed the gap on Lamar Jackson in the MVP race? Is Jared Goff even still a part of that conversation? If you had to pick an MVP right now between Allen, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson, who are you giving the MVP to if it was up to you, Joe?
Outstanding, man. Outstanding question. I'm telling you, I thought about it because I saw Josh Allen say, guys, come on. I have some more room on my shoulder. Get on it. Let me carry you to victory. And that's certainly what he did. But here's the deal. Lamar Jackson got off to a phenomenal start. Lamar Jackson is still sitting there in front of us with 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And oh, by the way, let's not forget about what he does with his legs. 67 completion percentage. And he's developing even better as a passer. It's still Lamar Jackson. But why I love Josh Allen is this is why, guys. He's doing it with no names, really. Yeah, have you guys heard of Shakur or Shakir? That's their leading receiver. Deion Coleman, the phenomenal athlete from Florida State, he's on the team. But Josh Allen is doing it really with no help, and that's what I love about it. But again, is there games left in the NFL season? And we shall see. But I definitely think Josh Allen has closed the gap just a tad bit. And Lamar still has games against what? Pittsburgh. He still has divisional games. So he's going to have to continue to play. And forget about Jared Goff, okay? Phenomenal playing. They're 9-1 right now. But anytime you put up a 5-interception game, yeah, you can recover from it with your team in-house, but you can't recover from that in an MVP race, in my opinion. Not at all.
Stu's talking to our quarterback, Joe Hamilton, the Low Country's finest, Georgia Tech's finest, on a pop-up show on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. All right, Joe, let's shift to college a little bit and talk about the job that Coach Prime is doing at Colorado. I mean, what more can you say about this guy? 8-2 this year, 1-11 in 2022 when he first got there, or the year before he got there. Talk about the job Coach Prime is doing, totally offensively, defensive, special teams. Talk about the job this guy is doing for Colorado and bringing them back from the dead.
Doug, I wasn't a total believer at first. All right, then, because I was thinking about how are you going to get recruits over there? How are you going to, change a program that hadn't won in a long time? How are you going to do it? He proved it to me. How I'm going to do it, I know how to. I know what I need. I'm going to protect Shedeur Sanders, my son, as a phenomenal quarterback, top 5 pick, in my opinion, in the NFL draft. I'm going to shore up the defense. And the most important thing that I saw Coach Prime do or is doing, he hired a pro-type coaching staff. Pat Shermer, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. You see NFL concepts. You see NFL protections. You see NFL drops. Being able to game plan. Being able to make adjustments to the adjustments. Halftime adjustments. Series-to-series type of adjustments. All right, defensively, on that defensive line, you see Damian Lewis, former Miami Hurricane and former NFL player, coaching up that defensive line. You see a defensive analyst, and Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp is one of my former teammates. Say what you want to say about Warren Sapp, but I tell you this: the guy knows football in and out. The guy knows how to teach off defensive line movement, hand movement, recognizing secondary. And that's another thing about Sapp. You think he just knows defensive line? No, no, no. He knows what the linebackers should do. He knows what the secondary guy should do. He knows how the safety is going to fill A gap, D gap, B gap. He knows it all. So Coach Prime has surrounded himself with football guys. And to me, that's what I love. A guy that can have their hands into when the defense is out there, he's watching and paying attention. When the offense is out there, he's watching and paying attention. Special teams as well. So he's not, consumed with having to call a play here or there. He is all in, and he's motivating those guys. And I want to add one more thing to this. Everybody said that nobody's going to go over there to Colorado and play for Coach Prime. Too cold, too far away, too far west. But I looked up, they have 33 sacks. Those guys are from Louisiana, Florida, Texas. They're from Alabama. It's so as the wide receiving group, they're from all over the country. The guy can recruit. The guy can sell you a dream that where he's going to get you, and he can develop young men who, as we all are fathers, who wouldn't send their child to be coached up with Coach Prime?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Joe, we're going to stay on Prime real quick, and eventually we'll get into the debates that we've had for years. I mean, I'm talking about back in 2020 when Jackson State went 4-3. I'm talking about back in 2021 when Jackson State went 11-2. I'm talking about back in 2022 when Jackson State went 12-1. We're going to talk about this conversation. But before we get into that, you mentioned Shedeur Sanders and him being Deion's son. Sky's is the limit for right now for Shedeur Sanders. If you, and I mentioned this again when we talked last week, if you had to choose a quarterback to go early in the draft, are you sticking with the same order you had last week when we spoke?
No, sir, Mr. Stewart. No, sir. That's why, I make sure that I just watch those guys, keep watching them week to week. What adjustments are you making? How are you responding to adversity? And should be still number one on my board. I mean, the guy's getting paid like an NFL player. He's showing you the wrist watches. He's got his swag unknown to any other quarterback, and he's producing each and every week. But watch his diagnosis of the defense. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way. He's able to recognize shifts and disguises like he's been coaching and playing quarterback all his life. I love that in him. And last week I said something about Quinn Ewers being another guy that's in the top 5. I like Quinn Ewers. I still do. But I want to put Jalen Milroe up there this week. And the reason why I want to put Jalen Milroe up there is because this is the NFL now, guys. The NFL is going to dual threat quarterbacks. The NFL is going to the quarterbacks that if you blitz me and you do not have a spy and you leave a gap open, I can turn that 3-yard into 30 yards and maybe a touchdown. Now, this is the key. Can Jalen Milroe match up to an OC like you have in Baltimore? Can he match up with an OC that Jalen Hurts has up there in Philly? Or even Kyler Murray over there in Arizona? You can't just put Jalen Milroe with any OC or any system and say, go toss the ball around 30 to 35 times. Design runs, RPOs, things like that he can utilize his legs. And oh, by the way, we don't tell him enough about that. But I have right now Jalen Milroe is my number 2 quarterback in the nation if the draft was right now coming off the board.
Wow, over Cam Ward?
Over Cam Ward, and the reason why they are similar quarterbacks, Doug, and I really like Cam Ward, is just that Jalen Milroe is more explosive. I think that, Jalen Milroe is a bigger Cam Ward. Jalen Milroe can do some things that Cam Ward just cannot do. And that's because of physical gifts. And, that's about it. And when you look at it, Cam Ward runs around a lot, but not necessarily design runs. Cam Ward, what he's doing right now reminds me just run around, wait till somebody gets open and deliver the ball. And we all know by watching Caleb Williams, You just cannot run around and deliver the ball in the NFL. And I do like Cam Ward, but my goodness, Jalen Milroe, special player.
Wrapping things up right now with Joe Hamilton on the Joe Show. It's your boys, the Two Live Stews, Doug Stewart and Ryan Stewart. Doug, you want to finish things off?
Yeah. Last question, Joe. NFL MVP. Matter of fact, make this a two-part question. Right now, who would you vote for? College MVP, college MVP, Heisman Trophy winner right now. There's a lot of names being thrown around. Is it Shador? Is it Cam Ward? Right now, who's your Heisman Trophy front leading candidate right now? Travis Hunter as well in Colorado. Who would you pick if you had your choice?
Shador Sanders. Travis Hunter, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Travis Hunter, without the shadow of a doubt. Travis Hunter, because of the plays he's playing, the number of plays he's playing. Travis Hunter, because he is a top 5 wide receiver in the country. Travis Hunter, because he is the best DB in the country. And what are we doing here? Aren't we talking about the best player in the country? Let alone where is he playing at? Let alone real stats. You guys, I know, remember Charles Woodson? He didn't have amazing stats. You had better be careful if you go over to his side. That can turn into a pick six. When he was on offense, he made big plays, shutting down David Austin. I remember really right on the top of my head. So it's Travis Hunter. He's the best player in the college football right now. In a close second, I have to give respect to Ashton Genty from Boise State, because to be a running back and to carry the load each and every week, closing in on 2,000 yards, you cannot miss that at all. And the quarterbacks that started off, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, it's too many times I saw those guys fold under pressure. Too many times I saw those guys not act like the best player on the field. And to get the Heisman Trophy, you have to be consistent. And I think Travis Hunter has been consistent the entire season.
All right, Joe, that was the last NFL question. We'll finish while talking about the rankings. Boise State, you mentioned them just now. They're at the 12th spot. Miami, Tennessee, Ole Miss, UGA. UGA's at 8. Bama, Notre Dame, Indiana at 5. Penn State, Texas, OSU, and Oregon at number 1. Quick question. Do you like the top 12? Are they missing anything in the top 12? Can the Colorado Buffs get into that top 12 by winning the Big 12 and beating BYU and Arizona State to finish things out for the season? And lastly, talking about one game. So we'll talk about the poll, and then we'll talk about one game. Joe, does Indiana stand a damn chance versus Ohio State this weekend? Your thoughts?
Hey, man, I'm glad you brought up Indiana, but here's the deal with what I love about the top 12. The top 12 has a lot of different, teams, in my opinion, especially the top 7, that can win a national championship. Mm-hmm. Remember, you're going to have to win 4 games if you play on the first weekend, and then you're going to have to win 3 games if you get that first round bye. And I want to say this to you about the Colorado Buffaloes. If they win out, Stewart, they're going to have a first round bye. Not even the top 12. Remember, they are in the the Big 12. And if they win that conference, they're going to be one of the top 4 teams. They're going to be one of the top 4 teams in, college football, period. And they're going to get a bye. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think they're better than BYU. I think they're going to win their last 2 games. Oklahoma State is a little bit touchy with Van Gundy, but they're not very good this year at all. So I think that, the Colorado Buffs will make it into the college football playoff and rank number 4 in that. Yeah, why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head? See, one thing about this one, though, Stu, is not up for grabs. This is not the committee's decision to make whether they like Deion Sanders, whether they like what he's doing, his swag, his flamboyancy. It's not up to them. If they win the Big 12, they are in bottom line. And they have some, real winnable games coming up. They have Kansas this coming week. They have Oklahoma State the last week of the season. And then they have to beat BYU in the big conference championship game. And then they'll get in as a top 4 seed.
Wow. Finishing up with Joe.
Now, and what I will say to this, too, as well. I'll say this when you talk about the, Indiana.
In Ohio State.
Yeah. So when you say Ohio State and Indiana, I do not feel that Indiana has a chance at all. It's in the horseshoe, the Jimmies and Joes. This is not about the play calling. I like Indiana's head coach. He's got those guys motivated, playing hard, very good on defense. But it's not about that. When it gets to the fourth quarter and that offensive and defensive line, 4- and 5-star recruits start leaning on you, it's just too many of those guys for Ohio State. But I thought about a question I want to bring up to you guys real quick is this. Will there be a 3-loss SEC team that gets into college football playoff? Because here's the deal. It looks like to me that Texas is going to play either Alabama or Georgia. Alabama and Georgia, they both have 2 losses already. If Alabama or Georgia plays in the SEC championship game,
Well, I think we lost him. Yeah, we're going to have to work on that. We're going to work on that damn signal.
Yeah.
But we can finish off. We can finish off where he left off at. Okay. Looking at the polls, you got Ole Miss, a 9th ranked team in the AP right now, and Georgia at 8th. I don't think Ole Miss should be behind Georgia. I think Ole Miss should be ahead of Georgia. But that's just me, and people are going to say different reasons. I think Ole Miss has a reason to say they should be ahead of Alabama and they should be ahead of Georgia. But that's another story for another day. I think the reason why the poll is the way that it is right now is that the powers that be are setting up a way to make sure that Alabama and Georgia, no matter what happens, if either one of them end up with 3 losses, which more than likely one of them will have to, both of them will find their ways in that top 12. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, very interesting year because this is the first year that we've seen these playoffs, and we're going to see how everything kind of works itself out. One thing I'm interested in these playoffs, man, is to see how the 10th, 11th, or 12th ranked team actually does. Like, we literally could have a situation where the 10th ranked team in the playoffs, upsets the 3rd ranked team,
right?
Or whatever the case may be. So definitely gonna be interesting. One thing I wanted to ask you about, I didn't get a chance to, obviously, because of the connection issues that he had, is I kind of learned, because I haven't watched any Indiana. Have you watched any Indiana football this year?
I've seen 2 Indiana games, sir. They're playing good ball.
No,
no, they're playing good ball.
Well,
as Joe mentioned, if they were to play one of those superpower teams, the size of the guys, the Jimmy and the Joes, is going to be the problem. Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, they 3 deep at every position. Indiana is not 3 deep at every position.
Let me finish what I was going to say. I've never watched Indiana football because for 40-something years, the time that I've been watching college football, they've never, ever, ever been talked about more than the first game of the year because they've historically been one of the worst programs in college football. All they care about in Indiana is basketball.
It's basketball.
What I learned in the 2 Hours Shoes Facebook chat group from a couple of people that posted is Indiana went hard in the portal. And that's why they're good now, is because they plucked a ton of kids from the portal and got good really, really fast. So you're going to start to see a lot of teams, the Colorados, the Indianas that did that. You're going to start to see a lot of those type teams that historically in our lifetimes have been bad. They're going to get good overnight, just like Indiana supposedly has. Joe, you there? Joe, you back with us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard what I was saying. Indiana allegedly.
Yes, sir. You can hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Indiana got good really fast, to the point where they're undefeated right now, historically a bad team. What I'm finding out and listening to some of the listeners to the show in the 2 Hours Shoes Facebook chat group is that they went hard in the portal, and they got good very, very fast because of their actions and what they did in the portal. Do you like the portal? Do you think it's something that's going to kind of even out college football and the powers, the traditional powers that have been, or do you not like the portal?
Man, I know, Doug, I cannot be on the fence. I absolutely know that, and I will not stay on the fence. I love the portal. I love the portal because of the reasons you just mentioned. Indiana came on the scene very, very quick. They had an outstanding hire in the head coach, which he's getting those guys motivated. But also the big boys, they're going to get stronger as well. Ohio State also hit the portal really, really hard. Ohio State got Will Howard, a top quarterback in the portal. They got a safety, the top safety in the portal from Alabama. But where you're going at now is that I don't like the fact that these guys can leave after 1 year, Doug and Stu. That's what I don't like. They don't learn how to compete anymore. They don't learn about adversity. They come and if they don't have the job the spring ball, if they're not listed in the top 2, top 3 in the depth chart, they're out of here. So at that point, I go to the parents. What are you telling those guys? When you choose a school these days, I'm going to tell my son, because he's heavily getting recruited now, listen, yeah, you want to choose a coach and you want to choose a way that you can get to the NFL and win a championship, yes. But make sure you go to that school. Make sure that if something happens to you, you maybe bruise your elbow, or you maybe something happens to your ankle or maybe your knee that you have to sit out. Do you like that school? Do you like that area? Do you like that community? All that goes into it. And I love the portal. I just don't like anybody that can get in there and transfer year to year to year. We got guys that have transferred 4 times. Hey, come on now. I mean, is it you or the programs?
Right. Finishing up with Joe Hamilton. Last thing, Joe. Army's 18. My question is, now that we've got 12 teams, how are 13, 14, and 15 supposed to feel? And why is Army at 18 and they're 9-0? And if they're at 18, they've really got no chance of getting in the top 12, but they're undefeated. How do we make the top 12 teams more fair? And will 13, 14, and 15 have beef or a gripe with the new 12?
You think Army's winning the 12 best teams in the country?
They're undefeated, Doug.
So what?
They're undefeated.
But it's more than undefeated that goes into that equation.
Well,
you got to look at their schedule. You got to look at the talent, how many 5-stars they got on the team. I mean, that's part of it, right?
You and I can debate and talk about it on the Two Live Stew show on Thursday morning. Go ahead, Joe.
No way Army gets in. And how you satisfy them and their fan base, you move it to 16 teams. Because nobody's gonna ever be satisfied all the way. When it was 4 teams, you wanted more. Somebody was left out. It was Georgia last year being the 5th team. So it's gonna always be that. The 13th team this year, they're gonna be upset that they didn't get in and they got looked over. But it's gonna be about the name on the side of your helmet. It's gonna be about the fans. The money, the revenue, it's going to be about those things when you come up to the 12 best teams in the nation. And what about the eye test? Doug just alluded to it. Can you really put a 1-loss Indiana team in the college playoff ahead of a 3-loss UGA team or a 3-loss Alabama team that maybe played in the SEC championship? I would say no. Indiana has not played. They will this weekend, but Indiana has not played a top 25 team thus far at all. So that's me. I have to look at the eye test. I have to look at the strength of schedule. And yeah, that's a little bit sour. That's a sour taste, but it is what it is, man. I don't think right now that Indiana would compete against Alabama or Georgia when you're talking about winner take all.
I mean, Indiana beats Michigan 20-15.
Yeah, but Michigan's nothing this year. This is Michigan from last year.
Indiana beats Michigan State. I mean, I just think when you put yourself in a position and you're winning games and you're only beating the teams that you're supposed to play, you deserve an opportunity, which is why this thing went to 12 games. So the little guy or the guy that's unrecognized will get an opportunity to get a shot at being a champ. But apparently y'all are saying that that's not really the reality that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, man, Michigan State ain't been nothing since Percy Snow, man.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm saying. Yeah, that is definitely what I'm saying. And your boy Dunbar, the running back Dunbar. And I'll say this to you, Stewart, and I don't want to put your business out there, and I'm not going to do it, but I think you are a gambling man. And I would advise you as a really, really good friend to take the spread against Ohio State this weekend.
Right. You believe in
And that
Indiana so
spread should
much.
be double digits.
Yeah, you believe in Indiana so much. They should be in the playoffs. Go ahead and put your money on Indiana this weekend.
It's 14 points. They're getting plus 14, and I'm thinking about it, guys. I'm thinking about it. And Joe, yeah, I am a gambling man to the tune of losing $100 on Mike Tyson this past Friday.
Oh, it's 100 now. You told us 50.
No, I told you I bet my bookie and I bet my frat brother $3.95. Dave Anderson. I told you that.
All right.
Outstanding job, Joe. We got to figure out a way to get you off that dial-up you're using and come on over to the real internet so we can talk freely and not be freezing and stopping. But we'll figure that out. No problem at all, man. Good job, Joe.
That man called a worldwide podcast on an Obama phone. On an Obama phone, that man called the show.
We're going to figure it out, though. We're going to figure it out and get the right equipment that we need. Outstanding job, outstanding information, Joe. And we appreciate you, Joe. We really appreciate it, man. And we'll talk with you here real soon, man.
Appreciate it, Joe.
No doubt about it. And
Yeah.
That's your boy, Joe Hamilton, man.
Yeah. Low country. We all we got.
We all we got, man.
We all we got.
We got it. We got to figure out a way to get that signal better. But the information is exactly what we need and what we want. And the dogs and poodles, I'm not sure if you were paying attention to the chat. They were jumping, had thoughts and questions and all kind of stuff going on.
Yeah,
So,
we'll figure it. That's easy. That's an easy fix. Next time we do it, we'll be good to go, man. So thank you to everybody that joined us for this pop-up of the Two Live Stews for the Joe Hamilton Show. Coming right around the corner. Thank y'all so much for jumping on. You know, in your work day. You know?
That cat pulled a name from the past out. That cat said Percy Snow.
Yeah.
You showing some depth with Percy Snow, sir.
Michigan State ain't been nothing since Percy Snow. And I don't even think they was that good then.
Cedric Irvin and them boys. Hey, man, it's your boys. A+ to everybody in the chat room. A+ to Joe Hamilton. A+ to you, Doug. Appreciate you making time to pull up, man. You see more Two Live Stews. You've got the Tea with Tree going down tonight at 7 o'clock. And then the No Show on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And then following both of those shows on Thursday morning, you get another Two Live Stews experience with your boys, Ryan Stewart and Doug Stewart. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him, you need to find him and show him love. That's all he's showing you, nothing but love. Peace and blessings, y'all. Catch y'all Thursday morning. Peace.
Like the Fonz. Hey.
The Fonzarelli.